Safety in the country. What was it about Alabama?
LSU Tigers, number one. Go Tigers.
In the next 4 years, I'm going to Stanford University.
Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline, 256-576-4977. Now, here's D Squared.
With Chris Stewart later today. Pardon me. Sorry about the little difficulty there. But again, this is the Wednesday edition of the Recruiting Blitz on Blitz Sports Radio. Our good friend Chris Stewart, the voice of the Crimson Tide, baseball and, of course, basketball for 20-plus years. This year, the voice of Alabama football is going to join us later in the show, and we look forward to that conversation. Was able to catch up with Chris a little bit yesterday as they came into our community. Of course, we're talking about the first appearance for Alabama baseball in the Rocket City out at Toyota Field, home of the Rocket City Trash Pandas, the AA affiliate of the Anaheim Angels in the Southern League. It was a beautiful night, a little chilly once the sun went down, but Alabama playing Middle Tennessee, and of course it was a first pitch at 6 p.m. You were able to hear that on our sister station, ESPN 97.7 The Zone. It was Chris Stewart and Roger Hoover on the call as the Crimson Tide won their 20th game of the year. They're now 20-6 under sixth-year head coach Brad Bohannon, who was good enough to join us on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline on Talking Ball yesterday. And we previewed a little bit of that game. And so that was really cool to do and to see. Really enjoyed that. And, of course, certainly Alabama started Jacob McNary, who is a local young man from Athens High School who's had a nice career at Alabama, got drafted in the 16th round, decided to return to school for his extra year this year, has been in the weekend rotation, been moved back to midweek, but and really had 3 solid innings, no-hit innings to start the game. Ran into some trouble in the 4th inning, gave up 4 runs and 6 hits, and was down 4-0. But his boys backed him up as Alabama countered with their own big 4-run inning to put up a crooked number to tie the game after 4 innings. Jacob McNary comes out, but the bullpen, led by Zane Probst, who gave them 2 good innings. Then Aiden Moza pitches the 7th. Riley Quick, the younger brother of Pierce Quick, pitches the 8th. And then the 9th, the young freshman left-hander finished up for the University of Alabama. So the Crimson Tide was able to get a 10-4 win. They swung the bats really well. And, again, it was a good win for the Crimson Tide and a great crowd. That was the most important thing, is how good the crowd was last night, because Auburn's been here the last 2 years and won 2 games against a really good Tennessee Tech team, and then this year they beat UNA. But Alabama, this was their first trip to Trash Panda Stadium as they end up doing a nice job. And then, as we said, no question about it, but Alabama was able to get a nice win and move to 20-6 on the season. And so it was just a really nice win for the Tide. And it was a 10-4 win as Davis, the freshman lefty, ended up, finishing up for the Crimson Tide, gave them an inning. And so the bullpen was lights out for Alabama, gave them 5 shutout innings as they were able to use 4 pitchers and get some guys some work. So that was key. And Zane Probst, the transfer from Seton Hall, gave them 2 solid innings. Did a great job, struck out 2 and goes to 2-0 on the season. So really nice job for Alabama baseball to get that win, and certainly we were excited to have them at Toyota Field, the home of the Trash Pandas, and to see the crowd support them so well. I know Coach Bohannon was very excited about that, certainly, and we were super excited to be able to bring them into town. And, of course, for Coach Bohannon to take time out of his busy schedule to join us on Talking Ball yesterday was really nice. And, of course, the one drawback was Caden Rose. We would have loved to have seen him get some action and get a start and play in front of his home base. But Caden was, as Coach kind of he tipped us off on this, but certainly Caden Rose was a little nicked up, has a hamstring, and the SEC is such a tough league, and in Alabama they're going to be headed off to Arkansas to play the top 10 ranked Razorbacks, so they needed to go ahead and let him rest his hamstring. He had a little bit of a hamstring, so he did not make an appearance yesterday, but he's going to be a big part of that lineup going forward, no question about it. So needed to, get him healthy. So wished he could have pitched in front of his home base. But again, Alabama was able to get some really good work out of the bullpen. As we said, Zane Probst was the key, the junior that transferred from Seton Hall. Then Aiden Moza throwing very hard last night, had some pop. His second appearance in an Alabama uniform. He's another transfer portal addition from UAB. He threw the ball very, very well. And then Riley Quick, who's going to have a big role this year as a true freshman out of the bullpen from Hewitt-Trussville. He was the Mr. Baseball winner in the state of Alabama last year. Really good prospect, big and strong, pitched well. And then, as we told you, they ended it once they had the 5-run inning. Alabama had a 5-run bottom of the 8th to blow it open because a bottom of the 6th solo home run to left center from Andrew Pinckney was a key hit in the game to give Alabama the 5-4 lead. But then Alabama stretched it out to 10-4, and then Alton Davis, the lefty, was able to shut it down and get Alabama the win. But certainly some really good work, and then really it was big for Alabama to start swinging the bats well because certainly Andrew Pinckney's probably their best pro prospect, and he'd been struggling a little bit, the redshirt junior from Peachtree City, Georgia, but he was 3 for 4 last night, had that home run, and ran the bases well as also, and did a nice job, playing defense out in center field. Robbed a guy who nearly left the yard after they had already hit a 3-run homer. So Pinckney played very well last night. Give him a lot of credit. So really like him quite a bit. And if he can get it going, it's going to help Alabama. And they certainly need, all hands on deck and to be swinging the bats a little bit better with where they're going this weekend to Arkansas. It's a very difficult place. Dave Van Horn has done so much in college baseball. Taking Nebraska to the College World Series, taking certainly Arkansas there multiple times. He's done everything but win it, but it's going to be a difficult road trip for Alabama, and they needed to swing the bats well last night. And I thought, Jim Jarvis hit 4th in the lineup, and when you look at it, I thought Alabama, did yeoman's work, and really, I thought honestly. They did their best work, with the lower part of their lineup. That was the key to getting the wins for Alabama because when you talk about Jim Jarvis, he was batting cleanup. It's a little bit of a different approach, but he went 2 for 4 in that spot, the senior shortstop. And when you talk about 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 going on down the lineup from on down, all those 6 guys, and when you talk about Jim Jarvis, Will Hamiter, and of course, and then Ed Johnson, the transfer from Tennessee Tech before that Auburn as well, and then and he also prepped at Hewitt-Trussville, played with Riley Quick. But you got most of your offense from the lower part of your lineup. Jim Jarvis with 2 hits, Will Hamiter with a big triple to knock in a run. Also, Ed Johnson had a couple of base hits as well. We talked about Pinckney with 3 hits, but Tommy Seidel got a big hit to break it open with the bases loaded in the bottom of the 8th that staked Alabama to a 7-4 lead. The transfer from Harvard, he went 3 for 4 as well. Matt Gassetti did not get a base hit from the 9 hole, but he scored a run and he had a sac fly RBI. But when you talk about, as we said, that lower part of your lineup, when you're talking about 4 through 9, Alabama was able to do an outstanding job with situational hitting from those guys, and they got 11 of their hits from that portion of the lineup, and that was a huge key. And then Matt Gassetti, while he didn't get a hit, he had 2 RBIs situationally, did a great job situational hitting, and Alabama 13 hits against Middle Tennessee last night to go to 20-6. So a nice win for the Tide, and they played a clean game for the most part as well. So really have to give them a lot of credit for how they played and how the bullpen pitched, and it was a big evening for Alabama baseball, no question about that. And we're very excited for them to come and ply their wares with the University of Alabama, no doubt. But we're going to talk to Chris Stewart later in the show. Certainly, we look forward to that conversation. We're also going to bring you some interviews from spring football for the University of Alabama. As that is rocking on, two student athletes are able to speak to the media, and we're going to bring you those conversations, and we're going to talk to Chris Stewart. But we're going to go on a break. When we come back, we're going to have some post-game reaction from Brad Bohannon here live on the Recruiting Blitz on Blitz Sports Radio. I'm D-Squared, Rudy Armand. Stay with us.
This is Wes Neighbors with Philip with Eagle Insulation, and we have an announcement to make.
Yes, Wes, we are now Eagle Masonry and Insulation. Still a place to call for your installation needs, but now we offer masonry services.
What kind of masonry projects can you handle?
Wes, no job is too big, no job is too small. We can do renovations, new construction, outdoor fireplaces, fire pits, brick landscape borders.
Well, when you came out to my house, you did both the insulation and masonry at the same time. You guys did rock for me, you did brick for me, and you insulated my house. That's usually done at the same time that you're building a house.
Absolutely. It really capitalizes on 2 services you need at the same time, and you can get one company to handle both of those.
Philip with Eagle Insulation will come out, do your installation. He'll do your masonry. They do a great job. They guarantee your work. Check out more online at insulatedwitheagle.com and schedule your free examination today. 256-755-1556.
Thanks, Wes.
Guys, when we were 20, we never had to worry about spontaneity. And now that we've gotten older, spontaneity has been replaced with pills and injections. We're just trying to keep that intimacy, but it's taken away from spontaneity. At Advanced Life Clinic, we now offer GainsWave, which uses sound waves to non-invasively treat this issue with no need for pills or injections. Just give us a call, 256-888-9367, or check us out online, advancedlifeclinic.com.
McCurry Motors is your car and van rental headquarters. You can rent the vehicle you need today. Family in town, sporting event, church function, no matter what your need, McCurry Motors has you covered with a wide selection of cars and vans available for rent. They have 12-passenger Mercedes Sprinter vans, 12-passenger Ford Transit vans, 15-passenger Ford Transit vans, and 15-passenger Chevrolet Express vans. They have 2 locations, Highway 72 in Athens or Max Luther Drive in Huntsville.
When I chose a garage door company, I did my homework. I needed Precision Overhead Garage Door Service. They have a 5-star Google rating. I checked their reviews and liked what their customers had to say. Precision Overhead Garage Door has lifetime warranty packages. Same-day service if I call before 2 p.m. If they can't make it the same day, my service call fee the next day is waived. They did a 25-point safety inspection on the door and operator. Now that's peace of mind. Residential, commercial, and gate services. Precision Overhead Garage Door Service. Call 256-400-4500.
New name, new players, and an even better championship experience. This April, the Korn Ferry Tour returns to the Rocket City for the 2023 Hometown Lenders Championship at the Ledges. Experience the beauty and drama of the Ledges in person as golf's rising stars chase their PGA Tour dreams. From the first man on the green to the roar of the crowd when the final putt drops. Be part of every moment of the Hometown Lenders Championship at the Ledges from April 24th through April 30th. Tickets to be a part of the action are on sale now at HTLChamp.com.
Look out in the street there. You know what you don't see? My car, because I had to sell it to pay the lawyer I hired when I got busted for drunk driving. You know what else you don't see? My girlfriend, who decided that a guy with no car and no license and no money was no fun. And hey, you know what else you don't see? You don't see me leaving for work in the morning, 'cause I missed so much time with court and everything that I got fired.
Drive sober or get pulled over. Paid for by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
Welcome back to Talking Ball. And I knew I would do that. That's 2 days in a row. That's the first time, though. I'm proud of myself. It's the first time I've done that since we started this show in late July. I've done it a few times, but never 2 days in a row. But now I have. But this is the Recruiting Blitz on Blitz Sports Radio. I'm D Squared, Drew DeArmond, flying solo on this show. I don't fly solo. Have a great co-host in Scott Tyson on Talking Ball from 7 to 9 a.m. on our sister station, ESPN 97.7 The Zone. But this is the Recruiting Blitz on Blitz Sports Radio with D Squared, Drew DeArmond. And as we said going into break, Alabama baseball gets the big 10-4 win, 13 hits, outscoring Middle Tennessee from the bottom of the fourth forward, 10-0. Thanks to the offense, basically awakening and igniting to score those 10 runs on 13 hits as they were able to score 4 runs in that bottom of the fourth inning to tie it. Bottom of the sixth, Andrew Pinckney with a solo shot, and then the big 5-run outburst led by Tommy Seidel, Colby Shelton and those guys. Also Matt Gassetti with some situational hitting as well. Alabama able to put 5 runs on the board, and Alton Davis closed it out. And as you would imagine, Brad Bohannon was very excited about it, and we wanted to bring you some of his post-game reaction after the big win for the Crimson Tide.
Absolute first-class event. 95, 98% Bama fans in the house. I mean, just an awesome experience for our kids. We absolutely can't get back soon enough. I want to come back next Tuesday. It was really a lot of fun.
I mean, how cool is this? You've got all of your guys, signing autographs and everything, just to see so many Alabama fans. Of course, you guys get it at all your home games as well, but just to see that up here in North Alabama.
Yeah, I mean, I can't say enough about everybody involved getting us up here and the event that was put on tonight. And to the Bama fans, it was so much fun. And again, we just can't wait to get back soon enough.
What did you see from your guys that you were impressed with tonight? A little bit of a slow start for the bats, but obviously they picked up.
Yeah, our hitters said the first couple innings they were having a hard time seeing, and, I would say looking at middle's hitters, they weren't seeing the ball great either right out of the gate. I thought with the exception of about 4 or 5 batter stretch, our pitching was awesome tonight. They got to Jacob there in the 4th inning, but, he was awesome the first 3, and then our bullpen was fantastic. The back half of the game, it was really good to see some hard contact. We didn't swing the bats great over the weekend. Once we get going there in the 5th, I thought our at-bats were really good. Good to see some extra base hits and string some things together there.
And Coach, what about Andrew Pinckney? I thought he looked really locked in tonight. The home run was big to get you guys over the hump and get a 5-4 lead there going into the late innings.
Yeah, Andrew hadn't been great the last couple of weeks, and, he's somebody we can't have the season we want to have without him being a big part of it. He's a great player, been in a little bit of a funk, and it was really good to see some hard contact from him tonight.
And then I also think Seidel did a great job. I thought the bottom of your lineup was kind of the key tonight to flip it back. I know you had the big last half inning to blow it open, but the bottom of the lineup was good tonight, I thought, offensively late.
Yeah, when we're going good, we're getting a lot of production from the bottom. And, I talked early in the season, there really wasn't a difference doing the batting order. Drew Williamson has kind of emerged, but besides him, we got a lot of parity in our lineup. And, Tommy had a great night. When those guys in the bottom of the order getting on base and you got the guys in the top hitting with people on base, that's when you got a chance to put up some crooked numbers.
And then talk about the bullpen again. I thought they were lights out. Zane really did a great job.
Yeah, Zane Probst was outstanding. Aiden Moza, it was his second outing. He's a guy we really believe in. Good to get him back out there. And then Riley Quick was awesome, and it was really good to get Alton back out there. And, those guys didn't throw a lot of pitches, but, it's really good to get some game experience.
Great to have you here, Coach.
Yeah, thank you, Drew.
And that was Brad Bohannon giving us some post-game reaction for the University of Alabama. As we said, they get the big win, and it was 10-4 for the University of Alabama in baseball over a very game Middle Tennessee program. So very proud of this effort for Alabama. You heard it on 97.7 The Zone. Chris Stewart, Roger Hoover on the call did an outstanding job. They were also on the Trash Pandas YouTube channel, so it was a big event. Trash Pandas season hasn't quite started yet, but it was kind of a kickoff to year 3 for the Trash Pandas. As their the staff and everyone did a great job over there. It was great to be there it was my maiden voyage for a ball game over it. I have been to Toyota Field, but not for a game, and I got to give their staff a lot of credit. Everything was run smoothly. Certainly the concession stand lines were long, but they were very efficient. Everybody very helpful. Not a bad seat in the house. It was great to be there for some quality college baseball action. Now we're going to switch gears to spring football, as we said. The University of Alabama, they took the field for the 4th time. Second week of spring practice heading into year 17 under Nick Saban. They will practice again on Thursday, but they went through a workout yesterday. But before that, 2 young student athletes took to the media podium, one being a senior who has waited his turn behind Will Anderson. He's, of course, played alongside Dallas Turner. There's been a lot of great players in front of him during his career at the University of Alabama. He's always made plays, though, and now as a former 5-star who's waited his turn, who played for now the new Charlotte head coach Biff Poggi at St. Francis Academy. Chris Braswell being counted on to be a big part of Kevin Steele's defense, and the senior spoke to the media yesterday.
Obviously, Chris, with Will Anderson moving on, that's leaving big shoes to fill. But how do you kind of feel like you and maybe some of the other players in that position are ready to step up into that role?
I feel like everyone is ready to step up, as well as me. With Will being gone, he had a great impact for the school and for the team. He was a very good leader, and it's time for me and other guys to step up and fill that role.
Charlie, and then.
Hey, Chris.
Yeah.
What's maybe the one thing you want to work on to improve just this offseason?
I feel like I can improve on a lot of things in my game. Pass rushing, playing a run, dropping the coverage. You could never be great at anything. You can always get better. There's always room for improvement.
Tony or Nick, and then Tony.
Hey Chris, you talk about Will. Just being around him the last couple of seasons, what's the thing you maybe learned the most from him, or what's the best advice he ever gave you?
Will's a great guy. He works hard. He tell me and a lot of the other guys that keep working, keep your head down, and do the best that you can possible.
Tony, and then we'll go Mike.
How impressive is it to see a guy like Jaheim make the transformation he did, and then also how much does his ability to kind of clog the middle, kind of clear up stuff for pass rushing lanes for you?
It was very impressive. He lost, I think, like over 100 pounds. And seeing him go through that process and work hard and stay dedicated was very impressive. And obviously that does help, open up lanes as far as pass rushing.
Mike, and then Nick again, Alvarez.
Just what's been the message from Kevin Steele now that you've had a week of practice with him, just in terms of what he wants from his defense?
Great defense, being physical, fast, and eliminate middle errors and penalties.
Go to Nick and then Mason.
Building off an earlier question, now that you're a senior, what do you find yourself telling younger guys when they ask you questions about the program or about anything, learning their new surroundings?
Just working hard, and if a young guy asks me about a play, I'll go out and help them with that, and just overall for me, just stepping up in that leadership role, and being a vocal leader, and also showing leadership, like actions.
Mason, then we'll come back over here.
Kind of piggybacking off that, there's obviously a lot of talented young guys that came in this recent class. Like, what do you kind of see from them as they're going through the drills and like running the plays in the defense?
Yes, we have a lot of talented young guys coming in. They've been doing a great job in practice, very physical, determined, and they work very hard.
Come back here in the back.
Yeah, not young guys, but guys that have just got here, like Tresman Marshall and Justin Jefferson. How easy has it been for them to kind of fit the defensive system so far?
It's been very easy for them, they're getting onto the playbook pretty well, and like I said, those guys, they work hard as well.
Go back to Tony.
With Dallas kind of limited this spring, you're going to get some of those younger guys get more reps. How have you kind of found yourself in kind of a guiding role, and what have you done to kind of help them early on?
Like I said, I've been, as far as like young guys in my position group, just helping them with the plays, getting adjusted with, you know, coming in as a freshman. And, you know, we have a very talented, you know, group, and everyone is stepping up, you know, with Dallas there now.
Okay, Steven?
J.C. Nathan talked about one offensive line being ruthless, but what does that mean for the defense also? What does that look like being ruthless, being fast and physical?
You know, just going out there and dominating the field, you know, dominating the pass rushing, dominating the run game, just going out there and being physical, just like how JC said.
Okay, we're going to finish you back up over here with Charlie.
Yeah, sticking with JC, he's going into his second year as a starter. Just how do you see him grow and what's it like facing him in practice?
JC is a phenomenal player. He's grown a lot, and you know he works hard, and he helps me and other guys on the team get better as well.
All right.
And that was Chris Braswell, the senior outside linebacker, who is going to be one of the guys counted on to replace the production of the two-time All-American and really 3-year stalwart Will Anderson, who was such a big part of the Alabama defense, who will probably be almost assuredly a top 5 pick, probably a top 3 pick. May not get past Arizona in the NFL draft, even though I'd like somebody to maybe trade up and keep him out of the purgatory known as Arizona. Wouldn't mind maybe if the Indianapolis Colts made a trade at quarterback, say for some dude named Mac Jones, if New England decided they wanted Lamar Jackson, and maybe if Lamar goes to New England, maybe New England makes a trade, and then the Colts could draft Will Anderson, maybe switch places, make another deal and switch places. I know that's wishful thinking probably, but I wouldn't mind seeing Will Anderson and Mac Jones be Colts, and that would be really neat for me to see both those guys reunited as teammates in the National Football League. But again, probably too much wishful thinking. But you just heard Chris Braswell talk about Jaheim Otis. He is a rising sophomore. And this young man, since he reported to the University of Alabama last summer, he has lost over 100 pounds. Remarkable transformation for his body. Tremendous talent. Had a really good freshman year. Could be the next great interior defensive lineman, to come out of the University of Alabama. As you know, we all know that Alabama has produced so many Deron Payne, now the making Aaron Donald type money, the highest paid defensive tackle, I believe, in the National Football League. And Jaheim Otis hoping to follow that path, no question about it. But he spoke to the media yesterday, and we wanted to bring you that conversation.
For you this offseason and get better at?
Just getting everybody on the same page, get myself ready for this season coming up. Trying to y'all know, just work hard, get everything situated right.
Tony?
You've obviously had that huge transformation. Just how different does it feel playing now in your new weight compared to what you were in high school or just,
Oh, that's a lot better. Losing all this weight, I feel a lot better breathing good, practicing better. When I had all that weight on me, it was a lot. But now as I lost all of it, I feel better.
Freeze. Jim, cover your mouth.
Yeah.
Take that. There you go. Enjoy. Charlie.
The weight loss has been well documented, but what's maybe the biggest difference for you from this time last year and now?
From this year to last year, I say it is the weight. That was my biggest concern coming here, was the weight. I was talking to Miss Amy and all of them about my weight before I came. So as I got my weight down, I feel a lot better talking about it and stuff.
Other than that, though, is there something maybe about your game that you feel differently about?
I move way faster than what I did back in high school. I move quicker. I got quicker on my feet and stuff. So,
Mike?
Just what number are you at in terms of weight now, and what's the total number that you've lost? Are you still trying to lose more at this point, or do you think you're stable?
Right now we're trying to get at 330, but my weight right now is like 320. So I'm good around 320, 330.
So how much did you lose total?
I say about
close to 100, right?
Yeah,
At his
almost
lowest
100.
Mason, and then Steven.
I was with a couple of young guys that came on defensive line this year. They're getting ready for their freshman year. As a guy who just completed his freshman year, are you kind of like giving them any advice about how to, compete and work at Bama?
As a freshman last year to this year, I learned a lot in the game. How it's different from high school and stuff. But this year, coming to the new year, I expect the game. I know how the game works, so I'm prepared for it.
Steven?
Jaheim, how are the guys on this defensive line kind of pushing the offensive line to be even better in this upcoming season?
We compete every day, offense versus defense. We compete, making each other better. Every time we compete, we go do what we got to do to make each other better.
We'll go right here.
Yeah, Jaheim, you had to send off guys like DJ Dale and Byron Young. What lessons did they teach you moving forward and, kind of on your way to the NFL if you want to get there?
Them two guys, they were good captains, good leaders. I learned a lot from DJ and Byron, playing with them. They was helping me out during the season last year with the plays, working hard, and I appreciate them too.
Go over to Nick and then Mike.
Hey, Jaheim, just on the football side, what do you think led to you making an early impact? I think you were starting about 3 games in, so what do you think led to that? Yeah, what do you think led to you earning a starting role on the team, getting really heavily featured in the rotation about 3 weeks in? Once you kind of lost the weight, forcing the keys on the field, that kept you playing?
When I came in with the weight loss, I didn't think I was going to play because I weighed so much. So when I came in, they was helping me with the weight. And then DJ Dale talked to me, helped me out during the season. For my first 3 games, told me how the game was move and play.
Mike, I'm going to get to you. There's a lot of hands right now. I promise I see you.
You mentioned Amy. Just what sort of things did you have you eating, and how is that different than how you were eating before in high school?
In high school, I ate what I wanted. Miss Amy, though, she a lot of bake. She take away the bread, the rice. So I eat a lot of vegetables, salad, baked chicken, shrimp, a lot of grilled food.
Katie?
You talked about kind of how you changed from this time last year, but how important is this time of year for the freshmen and the early enrollees to kind of not only learn things, but kind of maybe establish themselves?
That's very important. You come in as a freshman somewhere new, it's very hard to learn around here. So they just, when they come in, just make sure you study and putting in the work. Listen to the older guys that's trying to help you.
Up front here with Nick.
I just want to ask about the O-line. J.C. Latham talked about they want to be ruthless this season. What do you see from that group early in the spring practices?
No, that group hard. They work hard. That whole group work hard. J.C. a good leader. T.B. a good leader. The whole line of leaders. They work hard.
Go here in the middle.
What do you want this D-line to be known for? I know you guys have a lot of turnover from last year into this year. What are you kind of trying to be known for?
This D-line right here, right now we're just trying to teach everybody the basics, teach everybody the simple stuff. But from this D-line, I just want everybody to be good, play how you just be yourself in the game. That's it.
Finish up here with Charlie.
You're obviously only going into your second year in the program, but do you find yourself maybe stepping up more and being more vocal with guys like DJ and Byron moving on?
I say yeah. Right now I do, but right now I'm still learning myself, the program, the plays, still having some help with some stuff. So yeah.
That was Jaheim Otis speaking to the media, and as we said, that young man lost over 100 pounds. Remarkable transformation. Going to be counted on to be a stalwart along that defensive line under Freddie Roach's leadership and Kevin Steele, now the defensive coordinator in 2023 for the University of Alabama. But speaking of the University of Alabama, the voice of the Crimson Tide is going to join us next. Chris Stewart, stay with us here on the Recruiting Blitz on Blitz Sports Radio. I'm D Squared.
The Blitz has been called.
I'm a firefighter.
A teacher.
I'm a farmer. I'm a barber.
A waitress. A mom. We're all part of your community. Every day we move in and out of each other's busy lives.
It's easy to take for granted all the little moments that make up our everyday.
Some are good, others not so much.
But that's life. It's when you experience a moment of uncertainty. Something or someone's behavior that doesn't seem quite right.
These are the moments to take a pause.
Because if something doesn't feel right, it's probably not. It's not about paranoia
Or being afraid.
It's about standing up and protecting our communities.
One detail at a time.
because a lot of little details can become a pattern.
We
trust our instincts.
Just like you should.
Because only you know what's not supposed to be in your everyday.
So protect your everyday.
If you see something suspicious, say something to local authorities.
I'm here with Stan McDonald of the Stanton Law Firm. Stan, I guess you are the Stanton in the law firm.
Yes, Wes, that's me, and we started the Stanton Law Firm so that myself and 4 other attorneys with me can help clients litigate, negotiate, and creatively solve legal and real estate problems.
Now, Stan, you grew up on a family farm in this area and have made a name closing on houses and land with your closing company, Jacob Title.
I grew up on a farm which used to be in the country. That, plus having closed on so many homes and farms, one of my colleagues started referring to me as a classic dirt lawyer. Now, I didn't know how to take that at first, that tag, but I realized that's exactly what I do and what I am.
And I know the attorneys at Stanton Law Firm are regular listeners, and we plan to have you on periodically. You and I have seen have impacted this community.
Stay tuned, and you may hear about friends like Steve Booker, Clarence Johnson, Thomas Boyd, and even a few of those offensive line hogs like Hoss Johnson, and maybe you remember some other of those guys too.
I remember Clarence Johnson. He beat us one year. He was unbelievable.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
With us today, Dr. Tracy Lowry of Best Vein Care of Huntsville.
When we evaluate a patient and they indeed have significant venous disease, most third-party payers, private insurance, Medicare, require us to treat every patient conservatively at least 90 days. Conservative treatment includes increasing ambulation, elevation of the legs, and the wearing of compression stockings. It's very common for folks to come see us in March or April wanting to have their veins fixed before they go into swimsuits starting in June. When we see someone in March or April, they're going to require at least 90 days of conservative treatment before we can even go to the insurance carrier to get permission to treat their veins. So if you think you have a venous problem, now is the time to come in and get a free screening so we can determine whether or not you need something evaluated. If you have a vein problem or you think you may have a vein problem, now's the time to contact us at bestveincarehuntsville.com.
Okay, Sarah, I'm dropping you at Emily's, and Josh, you're going to soccer, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, and by the way, when I pick you up, I'll be wearing my short shorts.
What? No!
Yep, me and my short shorts doing my daddy dance. Your friends will love it.
No!
Well, I might change my mind if you buckle your seatbelts.
Okay, we're buckling up. See, all buckled.
Whatever it takes, keep them safe. Never give up until they buckle up. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council. Visit safercar.gov/kidsbuckleup for more information.
Welcome back to the Recruiting Blitz on Blitz Sports Radio. I'm D-Squared, Rudy Arman. And yes, we talk a lot of recruiting on this show, but we talk a lot of sports. And I had a chance to reconnect with one of my favorite people last night. He and Roger Hoover were on the call on our sister station, ESPN 97.7 The Zone. And we are, of course, always honored to be an affiliate for the University of Alabama and their great athletics programs. And this gentleman has been a part of that. For the majority of his broadcasting career, starting in the year 2000, he has been the voice for since then of the Alabama baseball program, and for the last 20 years, Alabama basketball. And what a journey it was this year! 31-6 school record, Sweet 16, SEC regular season title, and SEC tournament championship. So many memorable calls, and for this season also, he was in the stead of his colleague. Eli Gold, as he was able to bring you Alabama football on our airwaves. He wears so many hats, the host of the Nick Saban Show, the host of the Nate Oates Show, and, of course, that is the 1992 Montevallo graduate, Chris Stewart. Chris, it's an honor to have you on the Recruiting Blitz. Good morning. How are you, sir?
Drew, you're incredibly kind. I appreciate all of that. Doing great, and really good to see you last night as well.
Yeah, it was, and it was a good win for Coach Bohannon. You've been along this whole journey. I was just thinking the other day, we had him on the show yesterday on Talking Ball, but it's amazing. It's already year 6, how quickly time passes. But this has been a big rebuild for him when he took this program over. They seem to have taken steps every season, and I thought it was big last night. They fell behind 4-0, but they didn't flinch. They scored 10 unanswered runs. The bullpen gave them outstanding work on the back end of the ball game, and they get a big win heading to a tough road series at Arkansas. But as you know, having done it since 2000, this SEC is almost like doing Double-A baseball, which you were in a Double-A ballpark last night.
Man, I'm not so sure it's not tougher than Double-A in some regards, but I think it's definitely on par. And what I encounter a lot of people that are casual fans, and I don't say that flippantly or in a derogatory sense towards them, but they're Alabama fans. They're glad to see Alabama do well, but they never go to a game. They usually don't keep up that closely at all with what's going on. And so when they ask what's up with baseball, and I tell them, hey, we're preseason number 20 in the country. And they go, oh, man, that's awesome. I said, yeah, but here's the negative. That's 8th among SEC teams.
Right.
You got 7 of the top 10 teams in the nation in the preseason that are from your conference. And, oh, by the way, they all give more scholarships than you do because that's legal and that's the way baseball's set up, and that's a conversation for another day. But when they ask why isn't baseball, better than it is, and I remind them, I say, well, how good was our football program when we didn't give as many scholarships as everybody else did? So that's a problem, and that's a reality, and a lot of people don't want to hear it, but it's the truth. That being said, I think Bo and his staff have put together the most competitive, most talented roster that I've seen in a long, long time. They are 2 one-run games away from sitting in a 4-2 spot in the league, going to Fayetteville. And here's the thing: they're going to go there and be able to compete in a major way. It's a tough place to play, but they're going to be able to go and compete. And I'm excited about what the rest of the year holds. The problem is it's a gauntlet. The 2 teams that have the worst record in the Southeastern Conference right now, the 2 programs that have the worst records within the league, are the ones that won the last 2 national championships.
Amazing.
It really is. Mississippi State and Ole Miss. So that's what you're up against when you're in the SEC every week in baseball. As great as the conference is, and again, virtually everybody's a football fan. A lot are men's basketball fans. And then you have maybe your individual favorites that range anywhere from softball to gymnastics to baseball to spring football as your second favorite, or third favorite, I should say. And we know spring football sometimes is second favorite. But the reality is this is a sport that is tougher and more competitive in baseball than it is in any other sport within the conference itself. Well, it's a grind.
And you bring it up a great point, because the last 2 national champs weren't favored to win it going into the playoffs. Mississippi State got hot at the right time. Ole Miss, amazingly, was the last team in the field last year. I mean, halfway through the season.
Ole Miss got swept by Alabama in Oxford last year.
They did. And halfway through the season, Mike Bianco was thought to maybe be on his way out. And then they win it all. And what an amazing run. And that's what I try to tell people. And we were talking with Coach Bohannon about this yesterday. A lot of times the key is to be healthy by the end of the season, try to continue to grind, get hot at the right time, get into Hoover, and then get into a regional, and then just see where the chips fall. Because if you can get healthy at the right time and a pitcher gets hot, then you can make a run. And that's what we've seen the last 2 years of Mississippi State and Ole Miss. And I think that's what Coach Bohannon's had a lot of bad injury luck, as you know, Chris, as you followed that. You've brought us the broadcast for 6 years, and they've even still got Garrett McMillan out right now. But if they can stay healthy and get to a regional, they can make a run. It reminds me of 2010. In the first year for Mitch Gaspard, I remember your call vividly.
Oh, yeah.
Nathan Kilcrease on the mound. They beat Georgia Tech, and then they get to the Supers and nearly go to Omaha.
No question. And that is why if you can just get to a regional, get out of the meat grinder that is the SEC every weekend with enough wins, quality wins in the non-conference. And that's why last night was big. I mean, MTSU's a game or now 2 games below 500, but Alabama's undefeated in the midweek. They weren't last year. And to his credit, Bo plays a lot of in-state teams or very close geographically like MTSU. That it's a huge deal when the Tide comes rolling in, or any SEC opponent is the opposition. And you catch their best effort, it's a big, big deal. And those guys are ready, and they come after you. And you're sitting there where you come off of a conference weekend. You've got another one coming up. And if you don't have the depth in your bullpen and guys don't stay motivated for whatever reason, you can get popped, and those will hurt you. Last year's midweek losses hurt Alabama. I think they were 8-5 in the midweek games. Well, they're 8-0 right now. And while you've got to get it done within the league and be respectable, you don't have to be at 500. Now, don't get me wrong. That's not the goal. The goal is to win the whole thing. But the real life math on it, if you're around 500, a few games north or south of that in the conference, and you take care of business in the non-conference, you're going to be in the conversation for an NCAA bid. And if you get there, you will absolutely take your chances as an SEC team in a regional field, because unless you've got 14 teams in, which we know isn't going to happen, you're not going to face another SEC team in a regional. And you're just so glad to see somebody other than your own conference when you get to regional play. You'll take your chances wherever you go.
No question. And you and Brian Pasick, to switch gears, have done such a great job. I believe this was your 20th year doing Alabama basketball. Everyone, including myself, was, wanted to see this team go farther, make history, get to Houston, play for a national championship. But it was still such a special group of kids. We're not going to get into what happened off the court, but we know what they played through. I just thought it was a remarkable job by these young men and these coaches to do what they did this year. It was a special year for Alabama basketball, Chris.
It really was, and crazy that, 21 years now, because that's why I was so, among the reasons I was so hopeful that this team was going to get to a Elite Eight and beyond, is it was 20 years since the last one, which is the only one.
Wow.
That second year. It was pretty interesting on the front end, Drew, and you remember this. The first year, I think we won our first 7 or 8 games, and we're number 1 in the country for the first time in school history.
That's right.
On Christmas Day, and then we're the last team to get an NCAA bid that year among the at-large recipients because things went south. Then the next year, you get hot late in the regular season and get into the NCAA and get on a roll, and you get to the Elite Eight. Now, I'll tell you, as special as that was, and I am not downplaying it in any way, shape, form, or fashion, but it puts it in context of, I understand that so much of basketball is tied around the tournament, and it should be. And I'm not saying in any way that what happened wasn't a disappointment last week, because it was. But there's no way that team in 2002, 2003 was better than this year's team.
Mm-hmm.
Now, they would have gone toe-to-toe in a one-game situation and may have beaten this year's version of the Crimson Tide. But this team was clearly better, and of what I have seen in my time, when you're talking depth, different ways of scoring, different ways of playing, consistency, especially in the face of unbelievable adversity, this was the best that I've ever seen in person. And most people that have seen even more than I are in agreement that this was the best Alabama men's basketball team ever. The exciting thing is it's not over this season. season is, but this run of competitive championship type teams is not going anywhere, in my opinion. You've got major holes to fill on your coaching staff, first and foremost, for Nate Oates. You obviously have major pieces that you'll be losing, but you're going to have a tremendous core coming back, and you're now a program that a ton of great talent wants to be a part of, even if they're already sitting on another roster. The way the rules work, they can wind up in Tuscaloosa next year. So I'm far from despondent. I'm disappointed for these guys and for the staff and everybody that really puts in the work that they fell short of their goal. But I am not sitting here going, wow, we missed our only opportunity, because I don't believe that's the case.
I totally agree. As I've told some people, the beautiful thing about what Nate Oates has done, you've been a part of. You were a part of that 02 team. You saw them up close. That was the last time Alabama had won a regular season championship, and then they hadn't won the tournament, the SEC tournament, since '91 under Wimp Sanderson. They've now done that both these things twice in the last 4 years. So he's just now getting started, and that's what I'm excited about. It's kind of like Nick Saban in football, just getting started, and that's a great segue, because I know you were the keeper of the flame this year. You're someone that, like, you grew up listening to John Forney. You're a native of our state, and I know what you went through personally with the health issues. I went through some myself this past May. How special was it for a season to be able to be in the seat and bring the listeners of the Crimson Tide Sports Network Alabama football?
Well, Drew, first of all, I was glad I could return a favor, because Eli, Roger Hoover, Jim Dunaway, and others, but those three in particular, all filled different roles for me during the time that I was out. So I'm extremely appreciative of them and glad that in a small way I could return a favor for Eli and hold his spot for him. It was more than a little bit surreal to walk in that booth on April 16th of last year to do the play-by-play for the A-Day game, and realize that at that time it was 4 years. It's about to be 5 years this April 16th. But that particular date, as I walked into the booth at Bryant-Denny Stadium to do the play-by-play for the A-Day game, it was 4 years to the day that I had my stroke.
Wow.
And then when I did the Iron Bowl, it was 3 years to the day of my last full day of being hospitalized from the bypass and the infection that I suffered afterwards that resulted. That was my last full day out of 91 total that I spent in a hospital. So, again, those just seem like dates to some people, and I understand. But when you've been through some of the things that I have, you have even greater amounts of gratitude and thankfulness. And look, man, it's Alabama football, and I've been a fan since I was a child, and so it would have been special regardless. But to have fallen on those particular dates, it was even more jarring of how incredibly fortunate and blessed I am.
Yeah, it's definitely God's plan, and and you never know. That's what I've learned myself. I had a couple of seizures it's almost been a year in late May, and that were very scary, and I'd never had really any big-time health concerns, and so it really changes your outlook on things. You just are very blessed. That's why I just took it all in when Alabama won the SEC tournament, and I've been doing this now about 8 years, Chris, on the radio, and I just told some people, look, I've been a part of some great Alabama football wins, but I've always been a basketball guy, as you know, and there's nothing like a full arena, 90% Alabama fans, and the electricity that was going through that place, and watching Brandon Miller come straight through basically straight through my window my view when he's coming down the lane to dunk the basketball. It was just such a special moment, and it's probably my favorite of my career thus far. It's just been great, and I'm glad that you and Brian were able to bring the listeners all of that and the great journey of this team, and that your health is returned and your voice is as strong as ever. And we just are blessed to have the Alabama Crimson Tide Sports Network a part of 97.7 The Zone. And we continue to just treasure the relationship with the university, and we wish you nothing but continued success, my friend. And we thank you for joining us. Thank you for giving us some time today.
I'm glad to do it, and we're thrilled to be on there with your station, your company, and the family of stations there. And I do want to say I was swapping texts literally just before I came on the show with Brad Bohannon and talking about what a phenomenal atmosphere last night was and how much we both enjoyed that, and can't thank the Alabama fans enough and the Trash Pandas organization for the incredible hospitality. They were great. I know there was already the flags at half-staff because of the tragedy in Nashville, and then we had our own in Huntsville last night that was just terrible. But for the numbers to show up like they did and to have that type of support and promotion from people like yourself is a huge help in that regard. So a lot of gratitude on behalf of all of us that are tied to Alabama athletics for what you guys do on a daily basis, but specifically for what happened last night.
Thank you, Chris. Really appreciate it, sir. Safe travels to Fayetteville.
Thank you, buddy. Take care.
That's Chris Stewart, and we're going to wrap it up. This has been the Recruiting Blitz on Blitz Sports Radio. Don't forget the Bandyman, Bailey Lowry, Captain Cool, John Abraham, the Afternoon Blitz, later from 2 to 4 today. Everybody have a great rest of your Wednesday.
Do you have discomfort in your legs? Varicose veins can affect not only how your legs look, but how they feel.